Look at this, everyone. Do you know what this is? This is the Rivers of America, and that is the beautiful Mark Twain Riverboat. And this is the Sometimes Vlog. It's a vlog that happens sometimes, and sometimes it happens at Disneyland on the Rivers of America. And look at this. We're gonna be quiet for a second and soak this in. You ready? Mark Twain Riverboat. Walter Elias Disney, Walt Disney to you and I, the founder of the feast, the creator of Disneyland, grew up in Missouri for much of his childhood. Like Mark Twain himself, Samuel Clemens, and was therefore a fan of the books Tom Sawyer, Huckleberry Finn, a huge fan of the old Mississippi River steamboats, Missouri River steamboats, and when Walt Disney built his fantasy kingdom, the magical kingdom of Disneyland, he got his very own riverboat, appropriately named Mark Twain. Look at that. Now the reason we have to soak this in is because this river is going to be drained out pretty soon for construction of Star Wars Land, and that means there's just a few more days to go to ride the Mark Twain Riverboat, the Columbia back there, or the Disneyland Railroad, which is also going to be closed down during construction of Star Wars Land, which will be way back there behind Big Thunder, way back there at the back of Rivers of America. And so they're going to change a little bit of Rivers of America, and as a result, they're going to have all kinds of crazy construction going on, and we are not going to see this beautiful sight for a while. Now, if you go back a week and a half or so, just before Christmas on this channel, you'll see a video where I got to drive the Mark Twain Riverboat. I am a huge, massive fan of Mark Twain, the author, of Walt Disney, the person, and of Disneyland, the place. And I finally got to ride. Ooh, it gives me the chills. I finally got to ride up there in the pilot house, or they call it the wheelhouse here, but the pilot house of that riverboat, the Mark Twain Riverboat, and drive the boat. I got to pull that very whistle. Oh, and you can hear another whistle over there as the Disneyland Railroad gets ready to depart New Orleans Station. So we're here on the edge of Rivers of America on a very rainy, very windy, soggy day at Disneyland. And just right now, the clouds parted and a little strip of sky came out. The wind slowed down just for a second, but it's been pouring rain. I'm talking about even if you're from Florida or the Caribbean or parts far, far away, it's been pouring. Let's just stop and take a look at that really quick. Soak it in. And it's called Rivers of America because each section of this river that's going around this island, Tom Sawyer's Island here, is sort of supposed to be themed around a different river. So this here will be the Mississippi River over near New Orleans. That's why you have New Orleans Square behind us. Back there will be some Missouri River, and other parts would be other parts of rivers, and you'd have different things going on. That's why Indians and blah, 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 blah. Look at this, though. Hello! Look at this guy over here. You recognize this guy? If you go backwards on the vlogs, something about your face, sir, anonymous stranger to me, reminds me of pumpkins.
Ooh, a great big pumpkin.
Pumpkins.
The biggest pumpkin I ever did see.
Yeah. Go back on the vlogs, you'll see it. Hi, Brandon.
Hey, Justin.
High five. Just high five to Pirate right now. Bucket list. Nailed it. But there it goes. The Mark Twain Riverboat going round the bend. I just got home from Northern California. I breezed in last night at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I was a little too late to come to the park yesterday. It was pouring rain almost the entire drive back. Pouring rain here in Anaheim, California this morning. Like really buckets of just rain, all crazy, and there were cars sliding all over the road. It was pretty wild stuff. And then, as per usual, the second that I walked into Disneyland, it really calmed down. I have tried. Look at how festive this lady is. Fun pic. She's still rocking the whole Christmas attire. Christmas is still sort of going on at Disneyland at half tilt, but it's mostly over, by the way, side note. But anyway, I can't remember what I was saying, but anyway, every single time I've tried to come to Disneyland and film, like a rainy day at Disneyland, I bring the camera and stuff, every single time, by the time I step foot in the park, it just stops. And then when I leave and it starts again, or if I leave the camera in the car, boom, it starts to pour rain. So I just have the worst luck with Disneyland and rain, or the best luck for everybody else. You are all welcome for the rainless moments that you are having right now. But I have to say, oh, there goes the last little soak around the riverbend, but I got to drive that. Isn't that cool? So you can actually go on that dock just for a few more days and ask for a chance to drive, to pilot, as it were, the Mark Twain Riverboat. And you can actually go up in the wheelhouse, sign the guest book. You can see the little area where Walt Disney used to take a nap. I got to lay down on it. It was a pretty cool moment for me. A huge fan of Disneyland, huge fan of Walt Disney, huge fan of Mark Twain, and a huge fan of the book Life on the Mississippi, which Mark Twain wrote, reminiscing about his time as a Mississippi riverboat pilot. The pilot's the guy that drove it, not the captain. The captain's the guy in charge of the boat. Pilot's the guy that actually drove the boat back then. And it's a really rad book. I highly recommend it. Anyway, so the Mark Twain Riverboat was very special for me. It was seriously like a big moment for me to be able to drive that thing. That was pretty epic. So now I'm back home, having driven, what, 8 or 9 hours with stops to go up north to see Allie. Then we drove many hours into San Francisco and back. Then I drove many hours to Fort Bragg and back. And then I drove many hours back. Yeah. And I'm feeling a little jet lagged and under the weather. But we have more things that we need to see today. In addition to the Mark Twain Riverboat closing, the Disneyland Railroad will also be closing for most of 2016, if not all of it. Here we have the Ernest S. Marsh pulling in to New Orleans Squares Railroad Station. Here's a little Disneyland Railroad secret. Over there, that building over there used to be the original Frontierland Depot for the Disneyland Railroad. But when they built New Orleans Square, it was moved across the track, and this New Orleans Square station was built instead. But this, the Disneyland Railroad, is going to close also for 1 year. That's the soft amount of time they put on it. It could be longer, maybe a little shorter if we're super lucky, because they're going to reroute the railroad tracks and change the shape of the river out there in the back to allow for the construction of Star Wars Land. Look at that beautiful, beautiful engine. Now you see, guys, Walt Disney loved trains. Like I said, he grew up in Missouri, and the town that he spent his favorite part of his childhood in, Marceline, Missouri. And I've been there. I did a video about it. YouTube.com/LiveFastLivePoor. You will find our trip to Marceline, Missouri, Walt Disney's boyhood hometown, and his boyhood farm there. Anyway, the big thing in that town, it was a big railroad town, so the train used to come through, very romantic at that time. The trains. So Walt Disney grew up just loving and basically worshiping trains. He worked on a train. His uncle was, I think, a conductor on the railroad. I don't know if he was an engineer. Anyway, I can't recall at the time. I'm still pretty car lagged from all the driving I did this weekend. But if you go, hey, what's up, man? If you go back to the video, youtube.com/LiveFastLivePoor from Marceline, Missouri, and check out all that stuff. All the history is there when I was more awake and it was fresher on my mind. But anyway, Walt Disney was a massive, huge fan of trains. He had model trains running around his backyard in the Holmby Hills in Los Angeles, California. He was obsessed with Ward Kimball's full-size train, which one of his animators had a full-size train on his property. He used to go down to Knott's Berry Farm and check out Walter Knott's trains. The man loved trains, and Disneyland is really Walt Disney's ultimate toy, his ultimate train set right here. If you think about it, I mean, sure, Walt Disney wanted a place where children and adults could get together and play and visit a haunted house and see pirates and ride a steamboat. But let's face it, the man also wanted a huge, massive train set, and he used to come here and drive those trains around on a pretty much daily basis. That, in and of itself, is pretty epic. So anyway, let's get a few more shots of the Twain and the trains, just for memories. Thank you for joining me. It's a pretty chill day out here. Literally, it's a little cold and wet and gloomy, but it's still beautiful. So why not soak in a little atmosphere? It's just hard for me to talk. I'm feeling a little under the weather, and I definitely need to rest. After doing my duty, I need to go home and sleep well. So here's a few glamour shots, a few beauty shots, a few beautiful memories of the Mark Twain and the Disneyland Railroad. And then let's take a nap. Or at least I'm gonna take a nap. And I'll see you guys a little later. LiveFastLivePoor at Spreadshirt.com, LiveFastLivePoor on Instagram and Snapchat.
Disneyland Railroad. To ensure a safe ride. Remember to stay seated with your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the train. Look real hard. You might just find your laughing place. And embark on fun-filled adventures.
Hello! It's so pretty.
America and into the American frontier as it looked more than a century ago. This area is so rich with natural beauty and wildlife, you can see why the early settlers were inspired to move west. You're seeing this view just like many of them did, from the company of a genuine steam-powered train. When these iron horses first started crisscrossing the country in the 1800s, the time it took folks to reach the West dropped from months to a matter of days.
Alright, look at this. Right before Toontown Station is this little back area, the Big Thunder Ranch and Big Thunder Jamboree. Look at the doghouse. Indiana. A little tribute to Mr. Jones. We named the dog Indiana. The dog? You are named after the dog? Don't know if that little tribute will survive the creation of Star Wars Land, which will be back right here in this area behind Big Thunder Jamboree, right before Toontown Station. So all this might be very, very different in a year or so when we ride this railroad again. Who knows?
Toontown. This is also the nearest stop to Fantasyland, where you'll find many of your favorite Disney animated characters and stories. You'll be here.
Provide easier passage. We hope you enjoy your voyage and will visit us again real soon.
Well, it's a beautiful sunset, but the gloomy weather's rolling back in. Tut tut! Looks like more rain, so that means it's time for me to hit the dusty trail out of the old west. Go home and sleep well. Thanks for coming along, everybody. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
We're embarking on a steam-powered journey along the rivers of America. On our trip, we'll visit the magnificent Columbia, the Great Northwest, the powerful Potomac, Mid-Atlantic, and the rugged Rio Grande, border of Texas and Mexico. We'll hear the voices of the pioneers, the native people, and the mischievous characters, too, telling the unique stories and legends of life along America's great rivers. We begin our trip on the mighty Mississippi, heading south and ending up down in New Orleans.